Hi, I'm Medha Anand. I have secured rank 13 in CSE 2023 and I would like to discuss how I went along through my answer writing journey during the whole preparation. This was my fifth attempt, so I think I have quite a lot experience in terms of answer writing by now. First, we'll go for essay. So, for essay, I think used to love writing and I would never hesitate while writing an essay. That was one thing that helped me out. But for all those who don't think that it is their thing to do, they should definitely practice on essay writing. I think everybody has their unique style of writing. For me, quotes didn't work really well. I used to think that there is a quote already given as the essay topic, and why should I write another quote just below that essay topic? So that is just a personal thing. So most of the times I used to start maybe with an anecdote or some story or something which has happened or would happen, something which would draw the attention of the person who's reading it and would ensure that they are able to sustain that the reading of the whole essay in one go. So my suggestion for essay would be that you'll have to practice. That is the only thing we can do. If you are comfortable with writing quotes, you are able to reproduce the quotes of great personalities really well. Do start with them, or you can even end with them. Whatever suits the flow of your essay. Another point which I feel is that your essay needs to be multidimensional. If I'm writing an essay on the topic water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink, if this is the essay topic, it is not about water per se. It is not about the things which are materialistic. You can go into the philosophical aspects of them as well. So there are more philosophical essays these days. So for me, I think what worked was that I used ways in which we could add more dimensions to the essay topic. It can include that there is this pestle approach: political, economic, social. You should not write the headings of the same, but you should take your thinking process in that direction. Okay, if there is a topic, what would be the political aspect of the same? What would be the environmental consequence of the same? Another thing which I felt was important was that I went through a lot of toppers' essay, be it Ishita Kishori ma'am or other toppers. I got their answer, the essay that they wrote in various coaching institutes from the market. I used to read their essays and used to think of what they did really good that helped them get so and so score that they achieved. So this is one thing that you can do. It will really help you in understanding how they approach a problem, because that is their skill of answer writing, their skill of dealing with problems, and you need to take a similar kind of approach. I'm not saying same, a similar kind of approach of dealing with things. Another thing is, I would say that there is this thing called antidote of the essay. If there is an essay which says A, so you should say not A in at least one of the pages. That see, while this may be true, but in some of the cases, this line won't hold true. This will give another dimension to your essay. So I think this can be another tip, if I may say so, that will help you fare well. And in the end, conclusion should be at least of 1 or 1.5 to 2 pages, where you summarize the whole thing so that the person gets a whole glimpse of how to go about, how they started. And you can see that in many of the stories that we read in the storybooks. They will take a character. For example, if I take a character Medha, so the story will start from that character and it will end on that character. So finally Medha did this. So now the examiner is interested. Okay, we started with that story. That is where she took me, and now she's ending on the same pattern. And I think that leaves a completion kind of an effect, a composure kind of an effect, that closure effect which we call. That okay, I started with this story and I ended with this same story in this essay itself. For the various GS papers, I think I practiced a lot of answer writing, like a lot of answer writing. What you can do is, for beginners, I would say don't try answer writing in the first go. First, make up your base material. Ensure that you have read the material in at least 2 to 3 readings. Post the readings you have made very short notes of the important things that you think have come in the examination, and this you'll get to know through the past year question papers. Reading past year question papers is a must, and I can never belittle the role that they will have in your preparation as they did in mine. Seeing those question papers, you'll realize that what the UPSC is actually expecting out of you, and then you need to ensure that you write on those topics once you have that base. For me, after this, in this 2023 examination, after the results of prelims, I wrote almost 6 to 7 questions daily on GS, apart from the sociology optional answers that I was writing. You can either include the PYQs in this answer writing, or you can even ensure that whatever is going around in current affairs, you are writing on those topics based on the available knowledge that you have. It is very important that you write what has been asked and not what you know about that topic. If there is a question, what is X, you need to write what is X. You can't go around beating the bushes and saying, okay, I know that about X, I know that about X, but I won't tell you what is X. This can fare well in some questions where you are just not aware of what the question is about. But doing that in all the questions will never fetch you good marks, is what I believe. Apart from that, I feel in my previous attempts, I really lagged in writing data sets. I used to make graphs, I used to make flowcharts, I used to make maps, but my answers lagged in data. My answers used to be, what I feel is that they used to be really bland when it came to data. So you need to have data, and for that I'm not saying that you need to have different data sets for different topics. You can make one complete topic. For example, if there is an economy question, it is about labor. You should have a bare minimum information on areas that surround labor or employment or inflation. These are some very, very basic things which you can use in multiple questions. If there is a question on economy, you can incorporate all these 3 data sets. For example, if there is a question what India can do to become an aspiring, an aspirational country, or Amrit Kal, what do we do so that we can see Amrit Kal? Therein, you can use all these data sets together. Let's see, our unemployment rate is so and so, and we need to reduce the unemployment rate to so and so. Our inflation is so much, so we need to reduce it so that the consumption, so to say, increases and the GDP increases. So these are some of the ways in which you can utilize similar data sets in different answers. Even if you learn something about maybe environmental waste, you can incorporate it in the answer of economy, where you say that, see, our environmental damage is so and so, and this externality is costing us these many $1 billion. So if we are able to reduce it, if we are able to reuse it, we'll be able to do well. So that is how you'll have to incorporate one data set into multiple answers. I'm not saying that you need to have different data sets for different things that are there. You can have one data set and utilize it at multiple points. Apart from that, for GS4, I think there is a need to focus on case studies because they form a substantial part. You need to give adequate time while you are attempting those question papers. And having said that, all the question papers that you try, once you reach the main stage, please ensure that you're writing it within the time limit. And there is just no excuse for practice. The more you write, the more you'll understand what the question demands from you. There might be cases where you can go totally off track. I remember writing one answer wherein I was totally off track, and I didn't realize unless one of my friends pointed it out to me that, see, here you have totally deviated from the topic. So this wisdom will come as and when you write and write more, that yes, somewhere I deviated from the topic. I shouldn't have written this, or this would have been the proper answer for this. Also, I would suggest that when you're giving a test paper of a coaching institute, you will get model answers for the same. So herein you can utilize all the value additions that you have in it, and you can add it to the base material that you have initially prepared. For me, the year I didn't give the examination, I ensured that I had notes for all the topics, the basic notes. And once I was done with it, I added current affairs to it. I added whatever new I found in the test papers, and ensure while you are preparing the year long, you can ensure that every week, if possible, you are giving one test or so. I remember before this prelims examination, when I was preparing for the mains itself, there were daily answer practices which I used to write. And for example, GS Core provides 2 questions daily, and you can write the answers and submit it online. It is an absolutely free initiative. You can take advantage of it. They don't charge anything. They give the evaluated answers on time, and they give really good suggestions. While initially I was upset with the suggestions that they were giving, but then I realized that it was a fault of my quality, the quality of the answers was not that well. So I tried improving upon them and ensured that the next time they even reward marks. So the next time I ensured that I get better marks. So these are small things which add up and they do help a lot. This I'm speaking from experience. And post this, if I have to go for my optional strategy, I think this time what I did different from last year, I don't know how many marks I would be getting, but then what I did different was continuous answer writing practice. My optional was sociology, and I found that there are questions which were getting repeated. For example, historical materialism. So every time or maybe every alternate year, they were giving the same question that write a brief note on historical materialism. So here you need to be aware that, see, this question can come. There is a probability more than the other parts of the syllabus that this question can come. So be prepared for it. There'll be questions like this year also, there were questions for which I had no clue about. It was an unexpected question, but you can just duck in front of those questions while you play really well for the rest of the questions. You can't say that for all the questions I just ducked. That cannot be the strategy. So the basics have to be prepared really well. For Harolumbus, I ensured that I had marked all the important things of sociology that were there, and I had ensured that whatever important I was getting, which was really important, I made some short notes out of it. I read IGNOU material, and for that also I ensured that since they are very crisp material, you should finish it in a day or two, based on chapter or topic wise. So I ensured that I was writing the answers based on the topics which I was reading the same day, so that I can get a connect between the two. Similarly, I also wrote full length answer tests, because in optional there is a change from the usual questions that you get in the GS. While in the GS you have to attempt 20 questions, there is no choice, nothing. In optional you have to attempt 5 questions out of the 8 questions given. So you'll have to make a strategy to instantly ensure which questions you are going to attempt in the examination hall. And that too, you'll have to ensure how there'll be questions which you'll be confused about, that okay, I should write question number 2 also and question number 3 also, but then you'll have to choose one. So make a strategy of your own as to which questions and how you'll decide. Will it be a 20 marker which will change which question you'll attempt, or will it be a 10 marker? So just be aware of how the things go on in this paper and make a mental map that I'll complete so and so question. Like what I recall now is I had 35 minutes for one question, and since we had to do 5, I would still be left with 5 more minutes at the end. So that was kind of a bonus thing for me. So that's how you can prepare, or you can have your strategy of your own, wherein you divide it between the 20 markers and the 10 markers and then come out with a strategy. But I think strategizing for this paper, which is different from what you did for GS, has to be done beforehand, and you cannot leave it for D-Day, because then it will become a complex task at hand. Another thing which I believe is that people say that you should leave questions out of the 20 questions that you get in GS. But my thinking is that since you've got 7.5 minutes for all the questions for the first 10 markers and then around 10 to 12 minutes for the rest, you should give the time accordingly, because your hand and your mind, they work in sync and they write really fast at that moment of time. So you should be careful that how you will manage the time, and you should ensure that you attempt all the 20 questions and you will not leave any of them. For me, this timing was not the issue, and usually it was for my friends, but then you'll have to make a strategy based on what your forte is. If you do well in time management, excellent. Else you can make a strategy beforehand that in half an hour I need to finish till here, next half an hour and if I breach this target, I'll have to continuously think it in my head as to how I will ensure that I don't lose my marks by leaving questions. So I think that was all about my answer writing strategy, and I would simply tell you that there is just no exemption to practice. You need to practice a lot, and only then you can improve upon your answer writing skills.